Hello, and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon cast with me, Rangru. And today we're going to play another 1v1 from the Wargame Bootcamp Discord Disposable Deck Tournament. Essentially the gimmick being is that once you play a deck in this tournament, you can't play that same nationality, coalition, general deck again. So, anyway, on the left hand side in the blue we have Crot playing a West German mechanized deck, and on the right hand side in the red we have Putin 187 playing as a USSR general deck. And looking at its opening deployment, as we're seeing here, Krot is definitely really hedging his bets and going all over the bloody place. Between the first engagement here of a BTR 90s with some Spetsnaz Gruin, the BRDM3 sneak into Bravo, well, really spending a lot of his money up north here. SU-122s, 3 TATBs, 2 BTRTs, and 2 BMPTs, which is a lot of heavy-duty firepower. Crot does have a decent amount of heavy armor coming up here. 2 Leopard 2, well, medium armor I should really say, and as he manages to rush into the town of the Spetsnaz Guru, which is definitely going to slow down any infantry and tank reinforcements from coming up, giving Putin fantastic positioning during this early aggressive play. And now those 3 TATBs are going to be rather nasty to go up against that long range compared to those Leopard 2s. We've got Tornado dropping in some bombs. Doesn't get any kills, but oh, the SU-122s do go down here. Milan's to unload. Crot's really liking to do his flanking maneuvers with his Luxes here. He's got one all the way far north up here. It's such an odd spot for it, but hey, I guess he's having a little bit of a dip in the lake. Or river. Yeah, it is technically a river. Or basin. We also got one moving all the way down south here. Really taking advantage of the amphibious to great effect. It's one of the few maps where actually having amphibious units can prove to be rather useful. Especially if you play the naval version of this map. But who plays naval anyway? The opening, well, salvo here for Putin has gone rather great. He's managed to capture entirety of Gulf. He still has his, well, main armoured units still alive, Lapature forced to fall back, and he even has, I believe, to be an Ergun back here, yeah. Some long-range battery fire. Now, being able to rush into Gulf so early on is such a vital position to get yourself into if you're starting in the delta side of this map, as it's very hard to lose this position now. It's not impossible, mind you, but with the town under control and really pushing quite heavy here with the BMPT, it's a very risky maneuver. Now, very tough units, of course, but not the greatest in anti-tank, but against lightly armoured vehicles, a bunch of grenade launchers and 100mm cannons will do a lot of damage. Against Leopard 2s, not so much. Oh, Run is only on 1 HP, so it is a possibility. I wouldn't count your bets on it. Putin going to be investing some anti-air because those tornadoes are really giving him quite a bit of a headache here. Going to be forcing him to fall back for now. Looking at the rest of the map, Crot, he has pretty much Bravo completely under his control. And I'd want to see the side. He technically has map control over Foxtrot, but it's very scarce. He really only has a Marder 2, and I was going to say his Panda Grenadier, but not for much longer. As Putin is starting to reinforce with some scratch hits loaded with VDV-90 and even a BMPT, and I'm loving seeing the good old BMPT play. One of my favourite units in the game. Not the tippity top, but definitely in the top 10 list. If you really want infantry in its stead, you really have no other better unit. Especially against a West German mechanized deck, which is a whole horde of infantry. As you saw in the deck loadout earlier, having some grenade launchers and 100mm cannons will work rather well for you. But both sides are just well recuperating their losses here. The peace run not being very peaceful as usual. And there's a constant bombing runs here. It's definitely... Well, thankfully our bombing run completely missed Putin there. He has managed to get onto the hill of Foxtrot, not managing to completely capture the southern part of it. I mean, really want to hold on to his section and have long-range firepower to deny any reinforcements, but he's still in a pretty good spot. And Putin is just trying to get his CATBs into a good position here. We've got 2 Leopard 2s being brought in and some of the lovely rest German reserve infantry. They're not really that lovely. But Putin only has a single reconnaissance Spetsnaz group here, completely out of rocket launchers, so it's just down to AK and SVD fire, which won't do all that much against armored targets. He is bringing in some more VDVs loaded in Mi-8s. Try and... I'll probably just hold into the village sector at least. Fortunately, there's no anti-air nearby because they got blown up, but hey! I didn't even notice BTR-90 sneaking around Echo here. I think he's actually going to do an offensive maneuver with the Mi-8 and try to load it into Echo, which could be a very good kill. That'd give Putin a nice +2 point advantage and really force Crot to spend 100 points or so on rebuying a CV. That's if he does get the kill. The BTR-90 flank is working rather well. There is going to get spotted by the reconnaissance helicopter, giving Crot enough time to skedaddle out of the air. Unfortunately, he's amphibious too. Leopard 2 is going to try and clutch it they shall. That's going to save Crot a little bit of hassle. He is going to lose a few points, but nothing really all that deadly. And Crot's pushing to Gove hasn't gone all that well. I mean, they're only using reserve troops, so can't really expect too much out of him. Putin still have those 2 TATBs ready to roll out on a moment's notice. Marder 2 just keeping the central area of Foxtrot clear of any Red 4. Putin bringing in some mortar Streckley here and some more reconnaissance troops to try and secure the Gulf. Very interesting smoking position there. I guess he's just smoking outside the hill so he could rush the reserve infantry into the town or the forest. Oh, actually using it to cloak the Leopard 2s. Allow them to move up. The TATBs are actually falling all the way back in. They're rather low on fuel. They're going to need a resupply truck rather soon. I mean, the Redevkas are kind of out on their own. I think they're really just an excuse to buy an Mi-8. You're not seeing a marker being dropped here. On his Mi-8 here. Nearby at least. And Crot really taking advantage of securing Bravo and starting to scatter his units just a little bit around. I mean, I do like where Stackens group it is. If anything does try to flank around, you can just shoot with a Carl Gustav. Most things don't usually survive being shot at by a Carl Gustav. We've got some VDV play trying to make a rain to the Echo point, but the Panzer Grenadiers are going to keep him at bay for now. There we go. Reserve infantry finally starting to make some moves. Once again, not the greatest infantry, but they are backed up by some heavy firepower here. That should help out, and this would be a very good initial position for Crot to get himself into. Because if you can just secure this forest, you deny any reinforcements from securing this town, and, well, it's only a Devka in there, so it's not going to be all that much of an issue to rout them out. You don't even have a machine gun. The BMPT is going to come in pretty clutch against the infantry. The Leopard 2s will prove to be a pain in the arse, and he knows that, and he's going to be pulling back. Jurgen doing some rather danger close rocket fire here. Mainly just getting some stunning hits. Not enough to really kill, however. There you go, TATBs have been resupplied, and they are heading out. We are seeing a CV on the Gulf. This is going to give Putin that nice +1 point advantage. It's going to be very crucial on how he uses his TATBs here. He needs to get some rather good engagements on these Leopard 2s. Crot is bringing a whole platoon of infantry, once again just reserves to try and capture that town. The ATGM helicopter here. Gonna be killing one of the TATBs along with the Leopard 2. There we go, the second one does go down, which really gives the initiative now to Crot, as he has a lot of firepower here. He's going to be bombing the Everlasting Jesus out of the Last Remnants. I don't think Osa is going to really be enjoying all the BMPT being up here by the bombs. This is definitely a fantastic position for Crot to be in now. You can start making some headway into Gove. Really, just due to how this map is structured, Crot definitely has a rather good side, as he has Bravo completely under control with no real contestant. Foxtrot could really still go any way. Putin still has a little bit of a force up on here, but the main thing is that with Gulf, even if he doesn't completely capture Gulf, he just needs to get a CV into Gulf to neutralize it, and then you capture the Bravo run, then just try to neutralize Foxtrot, and then you can get that nice +1 point advantage, which is all you really need. As we've seen in previous casts on this map, we always see people always fail to capture the Bravo CV on the left-hand side, so to speak, and I'm hoping Crot doesn't fall to that failure as well. There's this row, it's 3 points, and you kind of need the points to win the game, if I recall that is. And now Flag Panzers and Leopards are dealing with what is left of Putin's forces here, and that command infantry, yep, you're gonna want to skedaddle out. There's really nothing heavy duty. Well, actually a little bit of heavy duty now, the Mi-24 VP and the BMPTs, but I really feel like he needs to get some actual better ground anti-tank fire. He's definitely relying a lot on helicopters here to try and deal with these Leopards. The VPs aren't pretty good at that, but in a forest fight like this, probably some sort of T-80s or T-72s would help out. VDV-90s with rocket launchers. We have some long-range artillery here from Crot. From 203mm. As well as some mortars. Just cause. I do like how much of a defensive net he has in Alpha to make sure he doesn't get CV sniped. And it's really good. The nice thing about having reserve infantry is that, well, you can actually have them in reserve and just use them as beacons. Very cheap beacons. You're not going to stop a helicopter rush or a BTR side flank, but at least they'll give you a heads up. .25 with the seed coming in. Does snipe the Flag Panzer. Man-24 flying rather close to the Panzer Grenadiers. We'll be able to finish them off with the rest of the helicopter support, however. Yeah, that Flag Panzer down, there's no real AA here to try and stop his helicopter movement. A VDV-90, there we go, moving through the forest. One does get shot down by a tornado. Only Mi-8, so not too terrible. But a tornado does get shot down in return by the Yak. And Crot now actually puts him pretty heavy into Foxtrot here, getting a Leopard 2 in here. As he's pulling back his recon Leopardrone 1s. Probably just due to that helicopter threat. And yeah, Manson does knock out Leopard 2. It's a pretty deadly helicopter push, but the Mi-24 is out of missiles, and that's really the main heavy duty firepower here of the VP. Can't really do much more without pushing. Now would be a time to fall back, which is exactly what he will do. But Crot is definitely getting the better in this match so far. He does have a pretty good chance in capturing Foxtrot entirely, really. We do have BMPTs, of course, but against armor forces, they're not going to do much. The wrong crutch of the BMPT, because it is a pretty expensive unit at 60 points. I mean, it's extremely deadly against infantry, and you do get your money's worth in that regard. But Putin definitely needs more of the anti-tank, it feels like, currently. Maybe not. I think he's actually doing a good enough job with his air power, seeing it. The MiG-27 and the Mi-24s, keeping the Leopard 2s at bay. It's about getting those BMPTs into position. He's just trying to CV snipe Charlie here. However, it's a T-72 CV, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. I can take a few 203mm shells to the face. And Leopard runs are going to be fanning out. We do have a T-72 and a rather nasty one at yard. There we go, BMPT's not getting into a great engagement here against Leopards. Actually, just overwhelming high explosive firepower is actually pretty deadly. I forgot those Leopard runs really don't have much in terms of armor or in terms of AP firepower. But it still wasn't a great engagement for the BMPT. One of them is almost dead. Crot does sense that and he's starting to move up his Panzer Grenadiers to try and finish these guys off. And those Panzerfaust Mark IIIs, you can pretty easily finish off those BMPTs. And the Leopard 2 as well coming in. Yeah, now would be a very good time to disengage. But Putin, you know, we're almost halfway through the match in terms of time. And he's got that nice +1 point advantage. He's doing pretty good for himself. The Akron for one, once again shooting down another airplane. I believe that was a tornado. And Crott is actually really gearing up for an attack here. Using the smoke to great advantage to allow his Panzer Grenadiers are getting close. But Putin does sense and he's going to be bringing some reinforcements to try and stop this. But the helicopters had R&R. They're ready to come back into the fight. Question is, can they see anything? The answer is no, well, there's smoke all over the place. 5 looking for another target to seed. Oh, I don't believe there's really anything to seed here. Crot has the option to get some Fliegerfaust, which is a rather funny investment. That's the nice thing about playing mechanized, is you can just, you know, take a man badge and ATGM infantry to your heart's content. You've got enough slots for it. Definitely, I see a pretty good choice. I mean, if those helicopters get a bit too close, I'd get the Afghanistan treatment. Putin is going to be a counter-attacking here with his huge lot of Motor Strackley. Try and push out these Panzer Grenadiers. Heimatschützen flanking are going to get shot up. We have a... How the hell did the BRDM-3 get here? What a sneaky maneuver he must have done to do that. But there we go, the reconnaissance net, or reserve net, set up from Crot has definitely paid off, as that will slow down BRDM-3 from doing anything too scary. And there we go. Benefits of having reserve infantry. Now, Foxtrot has been captured here, so really this just comes down to Bravo being captured, and that'll be a +1 to Crot and neutralizing Golf. Yeah, if he does both, that'll be a +2. Now, there we go, we're all going to be seeing the CV trying to be snuck into Golf here. I think he's actually going to re-gear it down to Bravo, which is definitely the safer move. No need to put it so close to the enemy front line here. Capturing Bravo will definitely force Putin to try and get a CV into Foxtrot to neutralize. He does actually have a pretty scary force in Foxtrot. He still has that rather nasty T-72, a whole bunch of Marder Strackley. I mean, the Marder 2 is in a good position to stop any of his infantry from moving up. Once again, T-72 just has to come in and finish them off. Here we got CV being brought into Foxtrot and a T-72 on it. And also another T-72 tank being brought in as well. Putin going pretty heavy in the armor here, which is what he needs. Crot can retaliate back with some Leopard 281s. And his Marder 2 is an absolute champion, just keeping his Marder strengthly at bay. A rather good position, but the ammunition is going to be the bane of him in just a minute, as he will run out of ammo soon. Yeah, Crot is just getting that nice and slow plus run. There's only 16 minutes left in the match, and he can definitely catch up to Putin's point lead, that's for sure. And he still has very good map control to just play defensive and still win. And this late in the match, you can definitely afford to do that. I know Putin is gearing up for a helicopter attack. Even bringing in the Recon Mi-24. It's such a funny unit. The Flieger Faust are going to keep him at bay. Ampad working rather well here in the forest terrain. In the MiG-25, he's trying to find something to seed, but you can't seed a manpad, unfortunately. Be a bit hard to stick a massive radar unit on a manpad. Look a little bit silly, I'd think. Again, doing the rocket artillery barrage and not really doing all that much. Oh, there we go. That's the second barrage, managing to knock out one manpad at least. There's still two more in there. And also the Flak Panzer, which does have its guns off, which is a smart move. And yeah, Putin is definitely in a position where he needs to make a major offensive happen now. And that is what he is doing. He has the two T-72s, the BMPTs. Infantry as well, so maybe he's going to try and do something through Foxtrot and try to get into Gulf. That'd definitely be a good maneuver. He just really can't afford to lose his T-72s in a bad engagement. We've got two Leopard 1s, which are definitely not best, but a good match for those T-72s. A bunch of VDV and some cheap vehicles as well. And the helicopters from Putin have not been getting really at values worth recently, just due to the anti-air threat. And he's going to make his push happen right through the middle of Gulf and Foxtrot here. Very precarious position, because he could just get rocketed. He's going to be leading the charge of the Marder Strackley. Now we're going to be bringing in some Saparis and BTRTs to really make sure nothing in that forest there sticks their head out again. The ATGM helicopter, probably a little bit too close here, but it's hard to get a good angle with this hill in the right. Yo, it doesn't bloody matter. He gets one. Does good damage on the second. Oh, this is so... Oh, such good positioning from the BO here. Like, he was flying so close, he is going to go down, but he's got his values worth. And then some, knocking out both T-72s. Absolutely clutch player. And that pretty much stops our push, because Leopard 2s can come in and just finish off the infantry. It's probably going to take a little bit to route this out, but I don't think Putin can really get much more there right now. He's definitely starting to focus now more on the Foxtrot with his huge infantry force of EDV-90s pushing up. But Crott has the armor advantage, and we know it's Wargame, it's really just about our armor advantage most of the time. Those Leopard 1s can just deal with anything that makes their head pop out. BTRTs definitely just a very risky maneuver, pushing up over such open ground. I think he's just trying to desperately try and find CV and snipe it. Black Panthers are going to come back and retaliate. I mean, they are anti-air units, but against light armor such as BTRTs, you could be an anti-tank unit if you want. Anti-tank they are. Goddamn, I love specs in this game so much. Not so much due to their effectiveness, but just seeing a bunch of 35, 20, 23mm cannons just firing really fast, it really tickles my fancy. CV does get brought up into Foxtrot, and it is actually going to be allowing Putin to keep his lead for just a little bit. It is still 11 minutes in this match, and Putin does have pretty good control over Foxtrot. Now, Brother is captured. So Crot could retaliate back by just trying to secure Golf and get that point advantage. Yeah, it's a little bit more riskier per se. But that's what he's going to do with the Leopard 1 tank. CV. And Putin does have a pretty good defensive line here. A lot of scary infantry to control his forest. But Leopard 2A1s at long range can just, well, slowly batter him down. And Crot does have a whole lot of infantry to work with his mechanized deck. And he is trying to get that CV snipe, but CV does relocate to a rather good position there to stop it from getting sniped. All the Pentagon is making a bit of a flank around here. Going to be claiming up modest strengthly, but CV is nearby, but not nearby enough. And the Mi-24s will be able to get in and do their damage. Yeah, slowly but surely, Putin's infantry has just completely been wiped out of Foxtrot, and I believe the tank CV got killed. It definitely seems to be the case. And that really just gives the advantage to Crot. We've got T-72BU trying so desperately to be a T-90. There's quite a lot of armor. He's going to roll 2 Leopard 2A1s, which he can pretty reasonably defeat, as it is a T-72BU. Still not the best position to be in. I mean, at long range, those... Oh, no, not... Oh, you do have one Pentagon Day-90. Oh yeah, no, you have multiple Pentagon Day-90s. It's definitely going to be keeping Putin away from anything wanting to move up anywhere close. They have now Crot taken over with that +1 point advantage. He does have the lead, so really it's his game to lose at this point. I'm seeing a heavy bomber IL-102. That's a funky looking plane. It's bombing the everlasting Jeevers out of that area, but Leopard 2 is going to survive. We've got a second IL-102. Just really want to zoom in here. That's a communist looking aircraft of how blocky it looks. It really looks like something that would come out of a video game. As I say, as we're watching a video game here. Crot just has a very good position on Foxtrot. He's going to be sneaking on to Golf, which is going to give him a +2 point advantage. And that really just seals the deal at that point. I mean, Putin just does not really have enough time to counterattack. And it's just going to be engaging the T-72 into here. Seeing how close he's getting, he's going to take a Panzerfaust to the face. And indeed he does. Or he can take a Panzerfaust or two to the face, because he does have decent armor, to be fair. Got the reserve infantry rush trying to get into Golf here. Not going to be spotting the CV. And the Mi-24 is coming in clutch. As he almost used up all its ammunition. Which is a good problem to have, to say the least. The Heimatschützen just seem making, like, really good progress here. And the Martyrs too helping out quite a bit of their heavy duty firepower, and the command infantry trying to retreat, but gonna run into the reserve infantry. He's gonna try his best to try and knock out the command, but that is not gonna happen. They just weren't feeling it. Once again, trying to CV snipe, but the CV is just not here, buddy. He's in another castle. And at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that Crot is going to get out victory. And he just, I mean, both sides really played out very well. He definitely played to his strengths in trying to capture Gulf, or recapture Gulf after Putin's initial push. Just using that horde of infantry, and this is a pretty good infantry map, as you got a whole lot of forest to work with. Putin definitely could have used a little bit more anti-armor early on. I felt like those BMPTs didn't do all that much to help him out. One of the problems with the BMPTs is they have such heavy point investments for a rather niche role. He did do a pretty good job, to be fair, using his airplanes and helicopters, especially earlier on, in trying to keep that armor advantage more towards his favour, but a horde of rash German infantry is going to be enough. Final hoorahs here from Putin, but here we go, it's going to be a good game, and not too far apart in terms of kills, only like a 700-800 points difference between both, but there we go, a very good match on a pretty damn good map. And I don't really think I have much else to really talk about here in regards to this match, so thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.